Hi everyone, my name is Emma. I like Disney musicals and all things cozy. Thank you so much for clicking on my video today. That really means a lot to me. Today we have some really exciting and gruel and fetch news. We're talking about the new Mean Girls movie musical today. So first of all, Mean Girls is a movie that if you've been living under a rock probably at this point if you haven't seen Mean Girls. So the original movie came out in 2004 and it's written by the beloved Tina Fey, who is just an icon. And Mean Girls came out nearly 20 years ago and it has definitely not stopped being relevant. It's featured on merchandise still, it's featured in music videos. This year, there's so much Mean Girls stuff happening. Very recently, the cast of Mean Girls reunited for the first time in absolute years. Lindsay Lohan, Lacey Chabert, and Amanda Seyfried all featured in a Walmart commercial featuring a spoof of Mean Girls, and it also featured actors like Raviv Surendra, who played Kevin in the original movie, and Daniel Franzese played Damien. Rachel McAdams sadly wasn't in the commercial, but I still think to get that many of the cast members to show up to the commercial was really fun, and I think a nice little warm-up for all the Mean Girl stuff that's going to happen in the next year. In 2017, Tina Fey decided to bring her beloved Phil to the stage in the Mean Girls musical, starring Taylor Lautner, Ashley Park and Karen Rockwell. And the musical was a huge success. It was on Broadway for over 3 years, not including all the tours it's been on as well. And Mean Girls is finally also coming over to the West End at the Savoy Theatre in the summer of 2024. So not only will we be getting a movie musical adaptation, we will also be getting Mean Girls the musical over here. So I can't wait to see who's going to be cast for that. But anyway, without further ado, let's talk about this Mean Girls movie. So when the initial cast was announced, I was super excited because Renee Rapp is going to play Regina George in this movie musical adaptation of Mean Girls, and she has actually played the part on Broadway before as well, and I've also seen videos of her singing Someone Gets Hurt. It is actually probably my favorite rendition of that song ever. Renee Rapp is a powerhouse of vocals. She can sing that song like no other, honestly. No shade to anyone else who sang that song, but she really made it her own and she sounds so badass.
Because you took me down, but you didn't finish me off.
And Renee Rapp is a hot name on everyone's lips at the moment. She has had more commercial appeal. She's been touring with her album Snow Angel, and she was also on the MTV VMAs, which I was really surprised when I saw, but obviously super happy. I think she has a nice little core following, but I also think her career is about to take off, and this movie is going to put her on the chart, I think, for even more Hollywood roles, Netflix shows, whatever she wants. The sky's the limit. I think Renee Rapp is a name that we've, in the Broadway community, West End community, has always, well, I've been a huge fan of her for years. Definitely the potential to be a huge star, and she already is, but I think after this movie people are going to definitely be talking about her. Now we are going to talk about the trailer. Good critiques and some bad critiques, so we're just going to jump straight into it. So in the first shot we can see a pair of pink heels in the first frame, which I think is so fitting, really, because obviously pink is the color of the season. I feel like with the Barbie movie coming out earlier in the year has really set the trend for this whole pink Barbie core aesthetic, which Mean Girls is inspired by Barbie, there's no doubt about it. It's kind of like Barbie meets Heathers, I feel like. If I was to explain it to someone who's never seen it, if you for some reason have never seen Mean Girls. Notice as well the way aesthetically that they've changed Regina from the movie and from the musical on stage version. It's not so much Barbie core anymore. They have made Regina more of a like Instagram baddie, if you can still say that. I don't know if that's still a thing. And they've given her these like cool sunglasses and leather jacket. I think I agree with that choice because it's set in our time, so it makes sense that the aesthetics are a little bit less, because with all due respect, obviously it's a musical, they're going to have costumes, but the stage version was very costumey, obviously, because it was on Broadway. But the movie, I feel like it's more organic to have the characters a little bit more muted down in a way. And Principal Duval from the original Mean Girls movie, played by Tim Meadows. I like having the little Easter eggs in there that if you have seen the original movie, you know who that person is. But also the newer generation, it wouldn't be in the way for anything that's happening in the story. And I feel like, yeah, it's nice to have little nostalgic elements like that in there. Tina Fey, who wrote Mean Girls, the movie and the musical, is also in this again as Mrs. Norris. And it's lovely to see her back again in the role, nearly 20 years later. That feels like a nice homage, and she has every right to have a cameo in this because she wrote it, and she's Tina Fey, so I'm gonna let her do whatever she wants. Jon Hamm is playing Coach Carr, which I thought was brilliant. What I thought was a really, like, I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, you let me know if I'm overanalyzing. You can see a poster saying stop smoking, and I think personally, because I've seen Mad Men, like for a larger portion of that show he was selling tobacco and cigarette products, so I feel like that's a slight little nod to Mad Men. I might be overreaching, it might just be but I in my Mad Men heart feel like that was a little nod to Mad Men. And this movie is doing loads of nods because there's also a scene with Ashley Park being the French teacher. If you don't know who Ashley Park is, she actually played Gretchen Wieners in the Broadway musical of Mean Girls. And she's playing the French teacher in this film. It feels very fitting because straight after she left the Mean Girls musical, she went on to star in Emily in Paris. People know Ashley Park from Emily in Paris now, I feel like, but us Broadway fans obviously know that she was in the show, so it's kind of tying two worlds together of different consumers, and I think it's really smart from a commercial standpoint of view. People who's not maybe into musical theatre as much, they see Ashley Park and they go, oh, I watched Emily in Paris, and then they go to the theatre. It can be that simple, and she's obviously super talented, and it's cool that they've written a new character that I haven't seen before in either the stage production or the movie. It's cool that they're putting new little tweaks in there. Who is the original voice of the Princess Moana is playing Janice, and I must admit, you guys, like, I don't want to be a hater because I think she has a fantastic voice, and Moana is one of my absolute favourite Disney movies, but I was kind of surprised by this casting choice because obviously on Broadway, Barrett Wilbert-Weed originated the role, and Janice is often played by someone I think who has a more rocky vocal presence. Her voice is so sweet and soprano-y that I could almost see her playing Katie a little bit more than I can see her playing Janice for some reason. I can't imagine it in my head at the moment. There must be a reason why she's cast, so obviously, like, I'm ready to be blown away. I'm not going to sit here and be like, she's not going to do a good job. It's just, she wouldn't have been my first pick, I guess, for this role. I just can't imagine her voice sitting in this rocky presence. I'm really interested to see her rendition of I'd Rather Be Me, because that is one of the biggest songs in the musical with such a huge message that I think is going to be really important to people watching it. Let's just see what she's going to bring to the role. Never seen her act in anything. She was in the Little Mermaid Hollywood Bowl version, and that is much more that's much more in her wheelhouse, I feel like. A soprano-y Disney timbre, but that's also all I've seen her do. So I'm ready to be blown away. Who knows? Like, we'll see when the movie comes out what she's going to do with it. In the first initial trailer that came out, there was absolutely no way that you would know that this was a musical if you didn't, follow the news and you knew Renee Rapp and you knew that they were going to make a musical version. When I first watched the trailer, I was waiting for singing like hint of singing or dancing, something to be like, wow, this is a musical. No, it just looked like a Netflix special or a remake. And I think this movie might get potential hate for being, oh, why are they doing a Mean Girls remake? Because people know that that movie's still so relevant in a way and people still reference it all the time. So I feel like an actual remake of it would be so hated on. I mean, don't get me wrong, they make remakes of great movies all the time, but I just feel like it's giving the wrong impression a little bit. The only note you can see that it's a musical is literally in the logo. They have a little music note in there, but it's not even marketed as Mean Girls the Musical. I just feel like that would have made so much more sense. Just call it Mean Girls the Musical, spell it out for people what is going to happen when a moviegoer goes to this movie expecting a movie remake of Mean Girls, and then they sit there and people start singing. They're going to be super confused. I just don't think it benefits anyone to lie to the audience like that. And we have seen, since this first initial trailer came out a few days ago, they did a little snippet calling it Regina's version of the trailer. And you can actually see Renee Rapp singing the beginning of World Burn and hearing it a little bit in the background. So they've given us like a little taste now. But I'm kind of tired of Hollywood pretending the musical theatre isn't something people want to see, because the demand for this movie is obviously there. Obviously they wouldn't have made it. And I know movies like Dear Evan Hansen wasn't received well. But I just don't think it does anyone a service. I think this movie has the potential to be really, really good. I'm quite excited about the movie. I'm also quite excited about the West End production that's coming next summer. I am super pumped to see who they're going to cast for that as well. The way I hope that they're going to stage this movie is to have dream sequences play out for the characters and not just, you know how Chicago does it? Chicago is a great example of bringing the stage to film, where they choreograph everything like it's on stage, but it's like in the character's head. I think that would really help for numbers like Where Do You Belong? You can see it in the trailer as well. There's this like colourful scene with confetti and clouds, and it looks very Broadway. That's like the tiny little bit of Broadway I could get from the trailer. I feel like that's going to be Where Do You Belong with Damien and Janice. That's going to be great. Yeah. And to be honest, I don't know the actress that plays Katie or the actor who plays Damien all that much, but I'm looking forward to finding out more about them as well. And these are just some of my thoughts. I haven't gone and analysed every single scene, but yeah, just some initial thoughts about that. Hopefully you will go and see Mean Girls when it comes out. I know I will, and if there's any other updates, I will be sure to make a video about it. So thank you so much for watching my video today. Give it a thumbs up if you're excited for Mean Girls the Musical, and if you are gonna wear all pink on October 3rd, even though October 3rd has been, I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm just going to stop recording this because this is the messiest video I've made in months. Alright, stay fetch. Bye.